Welcome to the Draftkings first look show for week 7. Y'all know it's my favorite show of the week. I love not having spoilers. That means there's probably nobody that's super mispriced, given that I didn't get any. Big week this week. You can see it. It's a mid-season mini main event. We got 100K up top, doubling up the top prize from 50K to 100K. Six-figure payday on the line. So we're going to be going after this thing and see what we can get out of it. So leading things off. Ooh, this is an interesting week. I will say you've got some potential game stacking, nothing that's super like stand out, gotta have from a game stack standpoint. Maybe one game. But otherwise, I do think that you're going to be able to get away some initial theories here, just looking at the slate of games. I think team onslaughts are in play where you just pick two teams and we'll get into it. But I think there is options to take two teams, just load up on those two teams, hope they score 45, 50 points, and you get the touchdowns and you get the points that way rather than doing game stacks. I think that is in play this week. I will have some of that based off of my initial theory here. I do want to test that theory, so I'll do that in some of the low dollar stuff. Will I do it in this $25 entry? Probably not. I'll have a few of these, though, to play around with. First game on the slate, Alabama at Missouri. This is a good game. This is a very good game for an 11 a.m. kick. You're going to want to be buckled in early. This is a full slate, a full set of games this week that are worth watching. 52.5 over under, 28 projection on Alabama, 24.5 for Missouri. I do like Missouri in this spot. I think this is a game stack potential game. It's one of the ones that I feel more comfortable with. I know Missouri's defense is pretty good. I don't know that Alabama is really the side to, but they're explosive. Ty Simpson been absolutely explosive. 9K is going to be too much for me. I think I'm going to be light on that. I know I was all in on Simpson at 7,300 last week. He's been delivering consistently 300-yard games, 23 points. I feel like 23 to 27 is going to kind of be where he lives in this game. So he's barely going to be able to get 3X. If his ceiling is 3X for me, I'm probably out. He's got a little bit of rushing capability, but I think he throws for about 300 yards in this one. If I'm going to play him, I'm probably going to end up on the wide receivers. Granted, I have zero clue what their prices are. If they're priced way up, I might be out as well. Bo Pribula. Let's see. This is going to be an interesting one. I think he's going to end up needing to run the football here. So if you look at this South Carolina game, he needed to run it a little bit more. Can he get the pass volume to get us there? I think he could throw for 270. I think he could throw for 2 touchdowns. I think he could run for 70 and a touch. So I say his ceiling and floor, his floor is probably a little lower than Simpson in this spot, but his ceiling is as high, if not higher. I probably prefer Pribula at this price to Simpson off of initial looking here. So that's going to be a hard one to game stack both quarterbacks in, given the relative price. I'll be curious to see where it is. Ahmad Hardy is where we expected. He has been an absolute animal. One of the best players, the best transfer up from a G5 to P5 standpoint, in my opinion, this season. Coming over from Louisiana Monroe. And he's been an absolute stud. He was great his freshman year there. Dominant beast of a back. He's not going to give you a ton in the passing game, so you're really relying on that ground volume. Now, he's going to get you 22 carries, but against an Alabama, does that ceiling look more like this South Carolina and Missouri games where he's at 21, 22 points versus can he do something similar to these UMass games? But, I mean, those are 3 touchdown games. So he's going to have a good ceiling. He's going to have a good floor. It's can you spend 8,300 to get to that 20-point floor? And does he not, what does that ceiling look like with no pass volume? This might not end up being the matchup to play Hardy in, even though he's one heck of a player, and it's not a bad matchup. No, we kind of saw what Cedric Alexander was able to do. He's slightly more explosive. Hardy's more a volume guy, personally there. Jam Miller looked pretty good last week. I don't think I would go there here. He did look very, very good. Missouri's just a different animal, specifically at Missouri. I'm out at 7,200. That's too much for me. Wide receivers, this is going to be interesting. All right, Ryan Williams priced way too high. No shot I'm touching that. I know he plays well. I know he's going to score points, yada, 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 yada. I still there's no reason to play Williams over Bernard for 2K difference. That's ridiculous. I'm going to take Williams out of my pool. I'm not considering him one bit. If I was game stacking and I wanted to play, I'm going to have a game stack of this. If I'm going to play Ty Simpson, it's pretty simple. I'm going to play Bernard at 59 as the top option, and I'm going to play Horton at 48. Horton's going to give me a good floor, and his floor is very similar to Ryan Williams for 3K less. His ceiling is nowhere near Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams can get you 30, but I'll take the floor at 48 and build a good team around him. I'm going to double stack that preferably, if anything. Kevin Coleman's going to be your top option for Missouri. He's very much so a possession wide receiver. I would expect he's going to need 8 catches minimum for them to stay in this thing. He's got 10, 12 upside. I think he's a very good option at 6,300. If you're playing Pribula, there's no reason, especially in game stacks, to not get the Coleman because of the volume. And there's some other options around him. I would say Marquise Johnson is more of a deep threat. I don't hate the play. He could be a reasonable option. And then Manning's going to be your third wide receiver. He doesn't get a ton of volume. Norfleet's going to be more of a touchdown or bust guy, but he's actually a decent option. Look at that Kansas game. He had a really good day. I think at 3,100 in a full game stack, I think Norfleet is in play. They do scheme some stuff up for him. So he's a solid option for sure. He's probably the best low-priced sub option below Horton, we'll say. That's a fun little game. Decent pricing there, too. I like that Jeremy Bernard price overall. He might end up being a core play at that. That's low price for him. UCF traveling to take on Cincinnati, who knocked off my Fighting Rocco Becks. 54.5 total in this one. 32.5 for Cincinnati. 22 for UCF. You already know Cam Fancher, no shot in hell. I'll never play Cam Fancher. Never going to happen. I don't think he deserves to be a P5 quarterback, or P4 quarterback, much less even a G5 quarterback. He should be in the FCS. He stinks. Sorsby at 7,700 kind of dashed my dreams last week. Had a good game, not a great game. They ran the football really well against Iowa State. They should be able to do it again against UCF. UCF's just not good. I think Sorsby always has to be in your pool to an extent right out the gate. Just, I've seen one game's worth of pricing. 7,700, not unreasonable for a guy taking on a UCF team who's kind of poo-poo. Looking at the running backs, I can't play Miles Montgomery. Cincinnati did leak some yardage to Abu Sama last week. He kind of turned back the clock. I would much rather play these. I would much rather play these Cincinnati backs in this spot with a 30, like I said, 32.5 point team total. Evan Pryor is going to have less touches, but be extremely explosive. So he's going to have to get there on high efficiency, whereas Tawi Walker is going to have much more of the volume and is more likely to score touchdowns. I would lean Walker over Pryor in this spot, but I don't think taking shots on either one is a bad idea. If they finally go away from Miles Montgomery, which they should, he's not exactly the modicum of efficiency. Jaden Nixon deserves more touches. He's just been an absolute freak show on his touches that he's gotten. He's a good value play at 3,700 if you can get there. If you need to get there, I don't know in the context of the slate. Like I said, we've seen 2 games at this point. Well, not even 2 full games, but I would say Walker and Pryor and Nixon are very good values in this spot. Cyrus Allen's still priced in this same spot. He had a terrible game last week. It happens. Do I think you could easily go back here? Yes. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad idea. Caleb Goody is going to be your number 2. I don't hate going here either. He did get paid off. He had literally the 82-yarder. It was 1 catch for 1 yard before that long 82-yard touchdown late in that game that he ended up paying out. Caldwell's just out here running wind sprints. They can't get on the same page with him, so you can't take shots there. And if Cam Fancher's your quarterback, I refuse to play you as a wide receiver. Apologies, because they're cheap. But if you want to take shots like DJ Black and then Dylan Wade, but I mean, they're just not good, man. I can't do it. Dwayne Thomas, I guess, is the possession wideout. They're terrible. I mean, I can't do it. I don't know how they're even going to score 22 points. It's going to have to be with the backs. It's going to have to be with the running backs. One of the more weird games being on the slate is Houston taking on Oklahoma State. I was kind of surprised to see this one on here. There's some better games in the different later options like Arkansas, Tennessee, which somehow aren't on here. 47.5 over under in this one. 31 points for Houston, 16.5 Oklahoma State. Connor Wegman going to be highly questionable. He's in the concussion protocol. Will he be back is $1 million question. If he's not back, can you realistically play Zeon Chris? Zeon Chris has good rushing capability, and now with him being 7,700, I was really hoping he'd be in the 6s. With him being 7,700, you're kind of comparing him to Sorsby because they're the same price. Sorsby got to have a better floor. 7,700 is a lot to play for Zeon Chris. I don't even know that I'd pay 81 for Wegman. Zane Flores, he's not good. I wouldn't play him anyway. Where they go at quarterback, nobody knows. Broken foot for Hoss Haney. Oklahoma State's just a freaking mess right now. If Wegman's out and we get Zeon Chris, I don't know, man. That feels like I should take shots, but I don't want to. Dean Connors, that's a lot of money to pay for a guy that used to be a very good pass catcher, hasn't been efficient whatsoever on the ground. I couldn't pay that even in this matchup. Like, you're paying for the matchup, not the production. So I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that price tag. That's not somewhere I'm going to want to be. What did Oklahoma State do last week from a backfield split? Caleb Hicks came back, didn't do anything. I still think Rodney Fields is the most explosive option in this backfield. Do they let him get enough touches is a question. 4,300 is probably a bit over. What did Howland do? He was terrible too. He was great the week before, awful last week. Glad I ended up not playing that. That worked out pretty good. I can't play Houston wide receivers. Maybe Kozel. The transfer from Ball State, I want to say. Good tight end, 4,700, not an awful price tag. But if Zeon Chris is there, they're not figuring out this Houston team is what I'm going to have to spend a lot of time trying to do. That's going to be very, very difficult. Amari Thomas is actually playing pretty good. He's the one that Zeon Chris hit for the long touchdown. He's going to end up being a good value option at 3,200. I will be in on that. That might be my angle. From the cash standpoint, like how do I want to play it? So I got asked this a lot last week. Sam Jackson. I was trying to figure, I had heard rumors that he might play some quarterback. When Flores went out, they did try him a little bit back there. He was 3 of 6 for 27 yards and rushed for 13 yards. Um, I don't know, man. That is a decision point because you're talking about a 3K wide receiver that's going to play some quarterback. What does he need realistically to get there is the question. That's that's going to be difficult. Houston's not the worst matchup. I mean, he did play some quarterback last week, and that's why people were asking at 3K. And that could have been ended up being a blind spot for me, but it didn't because he only had 2 points and he didn't do anything. Can he get there? Man, I'm gonna have to sit and let that marinate. That's gonna have to marinate because at 3K, it's worth taking shots, but I wouldn't want to be overexposed to that. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Pittsburgh going to take on Florida State after Pittsburgh started the freshman last week and absolutely smoked Boston College. Somewhat of a surprising result. 57.5 over under. Florida State going to need a bounce back from 2 straight losses. 34-point projection for the Noles. 23.5 for the Pitt Panthers and Fighting Narduzzi's. 0.0% chance I ever play Tommy Castellanos at 9,600. He's been too terrible too many times to me. And the floor is there. The ceiling ain't. I'm out. No shot. No, thank you. This Pitt defense is not worse than that UVA defense. And he only put up 26. It's not worse than this Kent State defense. And he put up 24. I will not play Tommy Castellanos. I can tell you that right now. That's far too expensive. Can I go to Mason Heinschel? Man, did he come out on fire. He got a little bit of rushing upside. That was a ceiling game. I don't know that you're going to want him on the road. First road start for the freshman. Woo, doggy. That might be a bit much. I'd rather play Zion Chris or Sorsby at that similar price tag, but I do want to play the Cincinnati backs based on the pricing early. Pribula so far, probably my favorite points per dollar quarterback that we've seen. Yeah, definitely Pribula so far from points per dollar standpoint. Sorsby right there with him, though. He's got a good floor. All right, well, thank you for pricing Roydell Williams up at 5,400. Zero chance I'm playing him. Can we please get Desmond Reed back at some point? Jeez Louise. I mean, he's just constantly out. But his price tag, the week he comes back, he's just going to be a jam. Because at 5K, we're talking about the literal most explosive player in the country a year ago. I wonder, can he have another year of eligibility if he redshirts? Maybe they're going that direction. Sawchuck 1,000% is in play for me. He's the best fit for this backfield. I've been saying it. Everybody said he wasn't good. I thought he showed me a lot that first year at Oklahoma. He looked great his first year. Had a lost season a year ago. That was a lost season for that entire roster. There was plenty of good players on it. They just were all hurt. Now you get Sawchuck into a system where he is very much so in the mold of an RJ Harvey, and he has a very similar skill set and his one-cut capability. I think Sawchuck's clearly the best option in that backfield. I do not have any issues playing him at 4,500. Chroma's starting to get a little bit more involved. Like I said in the podcast, talking about the Florida State game itself, Chroma's getting more involved, but he has jumbo jet syndrome, something that I would say Leonard Fournette had as well. He looks like he's moving slow, but it's because he's so big. So at 3,500, I wouldn't hate taking shots there. I think it's his time's coming, but I would prefer Sawchuck far and away for the extra 1,000. I don't think he's a bad value though at 3,500. It's going to start being a split here. I wouldn't play golf. Florida State dominated the Miami rush offense last week, really shut down Mark Fletcher, which is a task in and of itself, given how he's been playing. Deuce Robinson's too cheap at 4,600. You could play him very easily. I would play him. The only, I say I'm not going to play any Castellanos. I will play a little bit of Castellanos, but it's only in game stacks in this one, and only if I want to play like Deuce, Castellanos, and Sawchuk. Like I'm going to play a 3-man. I think Randy Pittman's probably not going to end up being needed, and I doubt that they use him. Any game that's a close game, they will utilize him, but this is not the spot for him. I would stay away on Pittman personally. Deciding between Kenny Johnson and Raphael Williams is going to be a pain in your neck. The last week's results are going to tell you to go Kenny J. Raphael Williams has 2 weeks before that, 3 weeks before that. It's just, you don't know. So you're going to have to take shots on both. They're 100% just splitting work massively. Given that last week was the first start for this kid, and he had 9 catches, and then Rafi had 2, I probably lean Kenny Johnson, but in the same range. Like as far as building a regular team on limited roster spots, I think Deuce is a very clear option in that 4,600 range for you to go to very easily. All right, what's the price? All right, no shot I'm playing Julian Sayin. I always say I'm not playing Sayin. I would rather play the wide receivers than play Sayin. He has no rushing upside. He's got a good floor, but the ceiling necessarily isn't there unless he tosses 5 touchdowns. But if he tosses 5 touchdowns, we kind of know where they're going anyway. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't tend to throw to randos. It's very concentrated pass offense in this one. 8,500. I won't pay it. I'm just not. That's not me. Like I don't play that spot. I don't like it personally, and that he's just not a good fantasy quarterback in my mind. I just haven't gotten there with him yet, and I haven't played him all season. I've just played his weapons on the outside. Altmaier. Altmaier's slinging the rock right now. Now, this is a defense I wouldn't want to pick on. 6K, very reasonable price tag for Altmaier against most opponents. And I would say, what is there, 136 FBS teams at this point? Probably against 133 to 134 of them. He's worth playing. This might not be the one exception at 6K. No shot I'm playing Fagan. He's too slow for this defense. Lawfrey and Valentine, no thank you. Peoples is out. I think Bo Jackson has to be in play. He's just so freaking good. This is a spot where I don't mind getting here. He's going to get a ton of volume. 5,800, not awful on the price tag. I will say I'm out on. I'd be out on Donaldson as well. If I'm playing a running back, it's Bo Jackson in this one. I do prefer the Cincinnati running backs at their price to Bo Jackson. I love the price on the Cincinnati backs. Maybe the Florida State backs. Maybe. I'm torn on that one. The real question every week is, what is Jeremiah Smith's price tag? 9K. Okay. I think a lot of ownership ends up flocking to Carnell Tate at 5,600. I understand that. Makes complete sense. The floor has been good. We just saw a ceiling game last week. He'll probably come in over-owned compared to where he should be. I would expect something more in the 12 to 18 range versus the 25 to 36 range. 12 to 18 is not really going to get it done from a tournament perspective. I'll keep him in the pool, but he's not a guy that I'd be extremely interested in playing. Jeremiah hasn't necessarily had the blow-up game in a while. He's been consistent. I really am kind of surprised that he hasn't had this like Ohio game again. Like that's kind of what we're looking for, right? If we're paying 9K, we're looking for 9 for 153 and 1, or 9 for 153 and 2, let's say. That's kind of what we're looking for, which is that in the cards here? Possibly. You're going to want to get some of him. If you're going to ring it back, Beatty is the slot option. He had a very big game last week, but that's because Purdue DBs were running into each other and falling down. I probably prefer Colin Dixon myself. At 3,200, he's going to be a good option. He's actually been solid, and I don't think they pay as much attention to him by comparison to Hank Beatty. So I'd rather drop down from 4,500 to the 3,200 of Dixon. As we said, stars and scrubs approach as the way I've kind of been trending and wanting to go. Max Clare is starting to become more involved in the offense, we'll say. I think he's a solid option as a punt play for 3,100. If you want to get there, I don't mind that at all. So like, there's options in this game. It's just I would go very light, we'll say. I think this one has sneaky shootout potential. Now UCLA is probably going to lay a dud traveling to Lansing. 54.5 in this one as the over-under. 32 Michigan State, 22.5 UCLA. I think a lot of ownership flocks to Nico after this 50-point bomb. 6,200 coming off 128 rushing yards. You're going to want some exposure to minimize your risk. I think I would be underweight on Nico. I don't trust him. Don't think he's very good. Now, the rushing floor is nice. At 62, what do you really need to get out of him? Is the real question, right? You don't need a ton. I guess he's got to be in play. The over-under's nice in this one. Aiden Childs at 65, not a bad option either. He's got rushing upside. He can throw the football. He's got good weapons. Now, don't take this Nebraska game and try to make any conclusions from it. The wind was 20-plus miles an hour. He was never going to be able to throw the football. 9 of 23 makes complete sense. The impressive part is he got 2 touchdowns on the ground. I think both are very much so in play. Why did Milivojevic play? Oh, because he was throwing. Oh, Aiden Childs was knocked out of the game. Okay, well, we're going to have to keep an eye on Aiden Childs. Took a bit, okay, he came back. All right. So, yeah. So, I think Childs and Iamaleava so far are very good price-wise from the quarterback position. I would say them two, Sorsby, Pribula, maybe Zion Chris are kind of in play, but these two are definitely in play. So far, Iamaleava is going to end up being the highest owned of the bunch based off of first look. All right, so where are we at? So has Mekhi Frazier fully taken over this backfield? I haven't checked on Michigan State in a while because they haven't been on a slate in a while because they stink. Well, actually, they were on a late slate with USC, but no consideration there. Mekhi Frazier is your full-time back. I am going to want to play a good bit of him at 4,800. It looks like running backs priced down very much so this week. I don't want to play any of these running backs for UCLA. They split a ton of work. I'd be out on them. No, to the UCLA running backs. The only run part of that game I'll play would be Iamaleava. Quasi Gilmore, I will not play at 6,700. There is far too much risk that Nico cannot deliver the ball to him. I'm out. Now, I will play, however, Nick Marsh on the other side of this game with Aiden Childs. Nick Marsh is an absolute stud. He just does not get the volume. I am interested in Nick Marsh from a talent perspective. I will get there. I have no issues getting there. Amari Kelly has had one great game. I prefer Marsh. I know 4,100 is a difference in price tag. I'd go there. Velling is a highly talented tight end. It's just, can he get the volume? I probably don't want to get there necessarily. It's just like Nico-wise, you just play Nico and that's it. I'm not even trying it, but TMA, he's maybe. I mean, he's on the field. He's definitely going to be on the field. It's just, Rico Flores. What has he done? Not a lot. There's just, that offense is so bad. I can't trust it. I'm going to end up with some Nico, but I don't think you want to pair him up. I think Aiden Childs you can pair with. I think you could go. That would be a fun way to play that. You go Aiden Childs, Mekhi Frazier, Nick Marsh, and you play a Michigan State dominates the game stack, and just say UCLA falls off a freaking cliff this week. Now, we went from an exciting game to I don't think this is going to be fun to watch game, although it's going to be fun to watch, but it's not going to be exciting from an offensive standpoint. We got the Red River Shootout. Texas taking on Oklahoma, 42.5 in this one, and it's probably trending even further down at this point. 22.5 projection on Texas, 20 for Oklahoma. John Mateer, unlikely to play. That gives us Michael Hawkins Jr., who we saw in this game a year ago. Just looked terrible. I mean, he's still completed only 58% of his passes against Kent State. What are we doing, Michael Hawkins? 9 for 33 on the ground. I can't give it. I'm not playing 9,300, not against this defense. Arch, still not paying 8,300, not against this defense. I'm out on both quarterbacks. Wisner, nah, I'm out. Not at 6K. That defense, that offensive line's terrible. Baxter probably comes back this week, given the relative importance of this game. Jaden Ott has left all capability he had in California. I think Blaylock maybe Blaylock at 4,400 you could talk me into a little bit. Maybe. Otherwise, I'm out on all the backs here. Wingo, no shot at 6,500. He stinks too much. Can Burks get delivered targets by Hawkins? I doubt it. I don't want to touch any of the wide receivers. I would have loved this game if we had, like, Satania would have been awesome at 36. Maybe Satania is the guy you take shots on at 36 because he's not cost prohibitive. You kind of get a little bit of a reprieve there. Even then, I don't think this is a bad option. Like if I was taking shots on Texas, it'd be DeAndre Moore. Livingstone was banged up last week, so we can get rid of the roommate narrative. I think the two guys that I'd be willing to take chances with are Satania and DeAndre Moore because they have the capability to make your day on one catch. Kanik doesn't have that capability. So I think it's Satania and Moore. Let's take the two slot wide receivers. They're guys that you could scheme open in a tight game. I think they can stay in play. Sub 4K, good punt options for me. Iowa State takes on Colorado. Good bounce back spot for the Fighting Rocco Becks. 52.5 over under in this one. 28-point projection on Iowa State. 24.5 for Colorado. Rocco at 73 is in play for me. He's just too freaking good. He's on the road facing a Colorado defense that just got torched by Josh Hoover and the Horned Frogs. I'm in on that. I'm also in on Salter at 69. I think you have to take shots because of the rushing upside and because of what Sorsby was able to do to this Iowa State defense. They are still missing those corners. There is upside with him. Now, there's also a very poor floor. There's a good floor because of the rushing touchdown equity. It's just he takes so many stupid sacks. Like he runs backwards for 30 yards and takes a sack. That was the BYU game. He should have had like 100 yards rushing in this one. He has 100-yard rushing upside. 6,900 is a reasonable price, though. I'm open to that one for sure, but I prefer Rocco. Carson Hansen is banged up. We need to keep an eye on this. If Carson Hansen is out, Abu Sama is an absolute steal at 4,300. Colorado's run defense isn't the greatest. It's not bad, but it's not great. Abu Sama getting 18 carries is well worth a look. He has the chance to get some touchdown equity. I will like Abu Sama and Rocco even more if Hansen is out. We'll have to wait and see who plays in this backfield. They played Dallin Hayden a good bit last week. He was on the field a little bit more than I expected. Michael Welch, I just don't think you can end up playing any of these Colorado backs. Yes, they're cheap, but they split work so much. And with Draylon Miller playing back there, you kind of got to stay away from it. And with Salter using his legs, Joe Williams, I'm out on. Omarion Miller looks like the top target. He's the best option as far as the deep game goes. I would prefer to play through him. Yeah, I'm not playing Joe Williams. Draylon, even at 35, he's getting like some carries, but he's not running enough routes, in my opinion. So I'm kind of out there. As Skildson is in play, he's getting targeted, I will say. So 3,400, I'm open to a Skildson. I'm sticking with Soul. So, man, he got hurt on the first target last week. They were looking for him. He had another catch in this game, or another play in this game, where it should have been a touchdown or would have been a touchdown. And he crossed the safety's face on a deep in route. And it was the last line of defense. And that safety held on for life, and it caused Rocco and the timing to get off. It would have been a touchdown. It ended up being a holding penalty. Instead, that guy knew that thing was a touchdown because Rocco was going to layer that thing in there, and Soul was going for a touchdown. So this thing could have easily been – he missed the entire first quarter, still wound up 558-1. After I believe he was getting checked for a concussion after he went up for a ball, landed on his dome. Still dropped a 16-point game. Everybody in the Discord was complaining that Chase Soul stinks, yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, what do you want, man? I mean, like, oh, should I drop Soul because I want to pick up Skildson? Like, yes, this guy is decent, but what are you realistically going to get out of him? I think Soul's the better play. Everybody's so reactionary, man. Watch the game, learn something. Play Soul, 3,300, I'm in. Count me in. I'm going to keep stacking him with Rocco. I'm going to keep playing him. I believe her. My priors are confirmed after the last 2 weeks, we'll say. He's a great add-on piece at the end of these teams. TCU, Kansas State. This is 100% going to be the most popular game stack of the day. Avery Johnson comes in at 9,200. Talk about needing to swallow your gut. Man, that's a lot of money to pay for Avery Johnson. He ran for 75 and 71 the last 2 weeks. He threw for 339 on Baylor. Can he do that against TCU? I don't know. This is definitely the game that has the most likelihood to shoot out. He's going to need 36. Can he run? Can he repeat last week is the question. I don't know. I don't know that he can. God, he's so terrible. He's such a pain to watch. Can I really pay 9,200 for Avery Johnson? It's just such a bad, like, by comparison. I don't know. I'd rather play Josh Hoover at 82. I know the ceiling's not the same, but 30 points feels pretty safe out of Hoover. I feel like I'm going to get, and he got bailed out last week with a late touchdown. Hoover's got to chuck it. The run game isn't exactly the best for them. I probably prefer him. Dylan Edwards, no shot. I'm paying 8K. He's banged up again. I just don't trust him. I would prefer, I don't hate Kavorian Barnes at 45. I'm probably going to end up playing it through the pass game. That's my typical way of playing it. But Barnes is back, and at 45, it's worth some shots here or there, more than likely, just out of first glance. McAllister did grab his leg late in this one. That second touchdown, that line's vastly different if they don't go for it on that fourth down. Get the late cover with a late touchdown on 4th and 3. They throw a deep ball for a touchdown to McAllister. I will note that at the end of this one, after that, on that touchdown catch, they didn't play anymore. McAllister was holding his shin/calf area over on the thing. They panned away. We never really saw him. 0% chance I end up going back to Dwyer. He just has not been connected to Hoover lately. If I'm going to play anybody, I'm playing Manjack over Dwyer. Manjack's got a much better connection. Also has the capability for those trick play touchdowns. I'd rather go there personally. DJ Rogers, meh. I'm not really in there. I think Manjack's the top option for me. And then we'll have to wait and see on the health of McAllister. If McAllister's out, then sure, I'm willing to go to Dwyer. But otherwise, I'd rather just pay up for McAllister. Jace Brown has been the clear top option in this offense. 7,700, though, is far too much. You're banking on a big play. I don't want to do that. I'd rather play Tibbs at 49. The volume's been there. He's stepped up when Jace Brown's been out. I like the more safe volume here at 4,900. I don't love him, but I would put him in play. That's what we'll go with. Game stack wise, you're probably going to have Avery Johnson, Hoover. You're probably going to want 2 Hoover pass catchers and Tibbs, and then maybe even Barnes. I would say I wouldn't want to play Avery Johnson with Dylan Edwards with Jace Brown in this one. I'd probably prefer to play the pass catching options. Play Avery Johnson, hoping that he runs for 2 touchdowns, and then I'd play him with Tibbs or Oakley. Oakley can catch 1 or 2 touchdowns. So maybe it's Oakley that you play him with as his pass receiving option with the touchdown equity. Hope you get 2 touchdowns out of Oakley. Hope that Avery Johnson runs for 2 as well. And maybe Jace Brown gets 1 touchdown, just doesn't get there because of the price volume. And then you play Hoover with Barnes with Manjack is kind of the way you could play that. Because then that way Barnes catches a touchdown. Barnes runs 1 in. Hoover throws for 3 touchdowns. 1 goes to Barnes, 1 goes to Manjack, 1 goes to like DJ Rogers or McAllister or Dwyer, but they don't get there because they don't have enough volume. That is possible as well. Virginia Tech taking on Georgia Tech, 54.5 point in this one. I think this probably ends up going under 34.5 Georgia Tech. I bet they score 31. Virginia Tech 20. I think they score right around there. Yeah, I think 21 is reasonable. This 9,400 Haynes King, lovely. Another guy that they priced up quarterback this week, folks. You're going to have to play value. He has the ceiling to get here. Does he need it is the question. They play terrible against these teams that aren't very good. 7,500 Kyron Drones, I am out. I will not play him. He's going to score you 19 points. He's going to be frustrating. Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. Not worth it. X outright immediately. Jamal Haynes at 6,800, overpriced. Although it is a good matchup, it's going to take high efficiency for him to get here. Could he get there? Yes. Do I think he will? No. Running back wise, where's Terrion Stewart at? He got hurt with a shoulder injury. That if he's out, it's going to lead to more Marcellus Hawkins. I would be open to Hawkins if Hawkins is the sole guy in the backfield. He should get the volume. He has the capability to do some things. I don't hate that at 3,900. He could be worth it. There. Aiden Green, no, I'm not paying 5,200 for a receiver stuck to a quarterback who can't throw the football. Rutherford, no, he's more of a short area option, hadn't played great. I'd much rather take shots on Eric Rivers. He's got far more upside. He finally scored his touchdown last week, taking on Wake. He's got a ceiling. I'll take Rivers over him, especially at 4,200. Canyon has been a very solid floor guy. I would have preferred to play Canyon over Rutherford, and I don't mind Canyon at 3,100 as a last guy in to my lineups. Donovan Green, I just don't want to play anybody from Virginia Tech to an extent. I don't mind getting there with Canyon or Rivers when paired with Haynes King. I wouldn't do a double, but I'd do a single because a lot of your volume is going to have to come from Haynes King running the football. Notre Dame taking on NC State. 60.5 in this one, 41.5 Notre Dame, 19 NC State. That feels a tad disrespectful to the NC State offense to me. I think Notre Dame scores a crap ton of points. CJ Carr is not the guy you want to stack. Everybody kept saying last week, oh, should I play Carr? Look, you're buying too much into this 4-touchdown game. His rushing upside is not there. Pass volume is there, but at the same time, he has to clear 300 yards and he has to throw 4 touchdowns. I don't think that's in his range of outcomes because of how good the running backs are. The variance in that's probably a 10% likely outcome. Don't play CJ Carr at 9,100. It's not worth it. There's better plays around that same range. 7,200 CJ Bailey, I am in on. So this is one of the better values on the slate. I know it's probably a little bit more than I'd like to pay in this spot, but remember, Notre Dame's defense has been terrible. They're going to be playing from behind. They're probably going to get more towards the end of, maybe you end up more closer to this Duke game, like that 45-33, just like that kind of blowout style. He's going to throw a ton of volume. He throws it to random people all the time. He's a good goal line threat in the run game. So there are options where he gets there. Now, what I will say is he has the capability to run touchdowns in. However, I'm going to contradict what I just said, saying he's a good goal line threat. He could be. Problem is, they've been bringing in this daggone backup guy to run touchdowns in, Will Wilson over here. He's getting all the rushing touchdowns around the goal line. So I don't like that. That I do not like. CJ Bailey's kind of been getting, he's been getting poached at the goal line here. So I think he's capable of running one in. I think he's capable of throwing for 300 yards in this one. But they did just put the clamps on Maddox Madsen. Do I think Maddox Madsen's much worse or better than CJ Bailey? Not really. They're similar players, but 7,200, I'm open to it. I'm more open to it than I was. 9K, Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love did get banged up last week. He did cost me a good bit of money. I needed a 30-point game out of him. I was winning the tournament with Jeremiah Love left. But he played well. 100 yards, touchdown. It's in there. They're going to have it their way. They're going full Burger King, McDonald's, whichever one it is. I'm not going to play Hollywood Smothers. He's been getting pulled around the goal line. He's got to break long touchdowns. I don't think I'm going to play him against Notre Dame in this spot. Not at 8,400. I'd much rather find the 600 to go get Jeremiah Love. Jadarian Price has to be in place. Gets away with it every week. Scores a long touchdown every week. He gets away with it. 6,600. I don't think I want to pay that. Trust me. But I think it's open. I think it's open to interpretation. Now, the guy getting the goal line carries lately, along with Will Wilson, is Jaden Scott. He's been working more in the red zone. I wouldn't play him, but that just FYI. He's been getting a little more work around the red zone. Justin Jolie, far too expensive. Terrell Anderson, far too expensive. Malachi Fields, great price tag. Now, 4,600, a lot more than we've been paying. So you're going to have to be very careful here. When he's 3,800, I'm fine with 14 points or 10 points. 4,600, I need 15 points. So I don't know that he can get there, but he's in play. I probably prefer Faison at 4,500. He's getting much more volume. The floor is better. So I think I would rather play Faison to Fields this week at 45 versus 46, but I would intermix them pretty evenly for me. Keenan Jackson, no thank you. Wesley Grimes, no thank you. Volume's not really there. Anderson is just too mid. I'm not paying 6K for any of these guys. Jolie's 2 touchdown dependent. Noah Rogers is the most talented, but at the same time, 3,300, meh. Teddy Hoffman started the year hot, and then he's done exactly what we thought he would do because he only plays like 16% of the snaps. Will Pauling's getting a little bit more work, but it's touchdown dependent. Yeah, I mean, none of this is great, boys. Like NC State, you just cannot play an NC State wide receiver, yet you could play the quarterback. That's kind of the problem area. I don't mind Fields or Faison, but that's probably the two guys that I'd be willing to play from that side. Game's weird. That's a weird game now with the pricing. Indiana, game of the day for me. Coach Sig in Indiana go to Eugene. 55.5 over under in this one. 31.5 Oregon, 24 Indiana. I feel like I would want to take the under on 55.5. Just seems a little bit more scoring than I would think. Both defenses are pretty stout. 8,700 for Dante Moore. Like I said, I think Indiana either wins the game or gets blown out. It's kind of where I'm at. I would take, if I was betting the game, I bet Indiana money line, or I'd bet Oregon minus 19.5, 20.5. So there are ways that Moore pays this thing out. 8,700 though is a lot. So there's probably rather play Haynes King, Josh Hoover, Rocco, even Salter. Like there's just so many high-priced quarterbacks this week. 8K on Mendoza. This is a tough spot. Could he get it done? Yes, but it's a tough spot. The legs are there. I don't know. Maybe I'm willing to take shots, but like I said, those guys are not core plays, no doubt about it. They're more game stack plays, both of them. All the pricing this week is up. It's going to be interesting to see points per dollar by comparison to projection. Himby, no thank you. Kalon Black, no thank you. Caleb Martin, no thank you. Yeah, I think, or Kobe Martin, I think he starts getting more work. Now, I would say you are going to want to take shots on these Oregon backs, not necessarily Whittington, given his injury coming off of that, yada, yada. Lamar, highly inefficient. I'm out there. If I'm taking shots in this backfield, I want to be early to the party to De'Aaron Hill. All right, the freshman looked great against Penn State. Does that buy him more opportunities on the field? They're going to mix and match these guys. At 3,200, I like the price tag. I'm going to be in on De'Aaron Hill Jr. this week. I am in on that for 3,200. He might end up being a core play there. I'm a big proponent that Indiana has a great run defense, because it's the run defense. Basically, what Sig did is he built a good run defense. Well, JMU's had a good run defense for the past 20 years. But probably past 30 years, actually. But they had when they came up to the FBS, they had the literal top run defense right with Georgia the year they came in. Then those same guys had the same run defense the next year. Then Sig left, took those guys with him to Indiana. Then they had the top run defense in Indiana, and it's continuing. So you got to think that they're going to be pretty good. Surratt and Cooper, I don't think you could pay 73 or 7K for those guys. That's just too much. Now, Surratt's been an absolute monster, but, man, that's a lot of money to pay for those guys. Outside of game stacks, you could take shots. Decorian Moore, this is a very fair price tag at 4,900. I am interested in that. He was the best receiving option in that Penn State game. Very clearly. I don't mind that. I think that's very good. I think you can now that I'm seeing it. I don't mind the Dante Moore, De'Aaron Hill, Decorian Moore, the little freshman stack with the more slightly experienced quarterback. Kenyon Sadiq was banged up late in the fourth quarter of this Penn State game, but he did return for overtime. He's always a threat for a longer touchdown to get schemed open. He's interesting. Benson, I think, is just not a talented player. I'm not interested. EJ Williams had a ton of targets early in the season, kind of fallen off lately. I'm out probably. Gary Bryant could be interesting. He's coming on a little bit stronger. He wasn't utilized in that Northwestern game, but otherwise has been utilized. I think Gary Bryant's a good play at 3,200 as well. Yeah, that's kind of where I would end at. I mean, those are kind of the mainstays on that team. I wish this guy was a thing, but they kind of kicked him out. I'm still rooting for him. Jurion Dickey, 5-star recruit. All right. Anywho, interesting game slate. Initial theories on the game stacks. I think Bama, Missouri, TCU, Kansas State. TCU, Kansas State stands out obviously as far as like the most likely. I think UCLA, Michigan State probably the most fun one. I'm most interested in that one. I think you play Nico and you play the big three from Michigan State, and that's your avenue. I will have that I like. Indiana, Oregon. Maybe I could get there. Notre Dame, NC State. I probably don't like that much now. Um, I originally thought I was going to like that one, but the pricing's way up on that game. FSU, Pittsburgh. Maybe I could see playing the FSU trio with the Pittsburgh bring back, specifically if Des Reed plays. I could do a double on that. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. Maybe. And then, like I said, team onslaughts. Initially, the thought process was Florida State, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Cincinnati, and Houston. I don't know. That pricing has got me torn. I'm gonna have to see, but I think you got to jam some things and just kind of take some shots. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to end up moving shows up to 9 o'clock because we're adjusting some things with work scheduling. So I'm going to try to be live a hair earlier to give me a little bit of time on the back end to do all my stuff. So I will be back tomorrow doing the FanDuel First Look show. I'm going to record my underrated game of the week here in a second, and I will try to get that out today. If not, I'll have it edited and up tomorrow or late this evening. I'll try to have it scheduled. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.